last night, they have attended a ceremony to celebrate the commemoration. Today, we brought you the live streaming. We hope to use this kind of means to introduce you this country far away from China. This location is very special. It's about a river away from the capital of Brazil. Two countries share a very profound historical origins. Gocha is an ethnic group originated from Spain, the southern part of Spain, and here you can see almost every person holds a thermos. And many netizens would jokingly regard it as a kind of religious behavior. Today, we have brought with us a thermal like this, and people surrounded me would carry this kind of thermal to pass the river by. This thermal is used to contain the matai, because in many of the South American countries, people would like to drink matai. It is not some symbols for the middle-aged people. In the South American, we have prepared the pictures for you. We can see very legendary. The football stars really like matai. He's from Argentina. And also other famous football stars, Messi, for example. And there are also the local football stars. When I prepared the photos, I found that many stars would like to drink matai. So today, we would like to introduce you why Gocha's ethnic groups like to drink matai so much. So today we have invited a local girl from Uruguay. Her name is Lucia. Now the microphone is handed to Lucia. Wow, you have a thermal. So please introduce yourself to the netizens. My name is Lucia. I'm from Uruguay. I study Chinese in Beijing. Of course, I'm a Uruguayan. So, please introduce to the netizen your thermal, the matai. The locals would like to bring a thermal, and this is the tools for drinking, and this is the matai, the cover. We'd like to put the tea into this container. We can look at this vacuum and this bottle. We used a kind of fruit to contain it, the gourd. 10 years ago, in the southern part of Brazil, also in Gocha's area, we can see that this is 10 years ago in June 28th. So we have with us the thermal to introduce the history of matai. Many of the Chinese people travel to Argentina or Uruguay, and they have seen that around the streets people would like to drink matai, but in many of the shops they cannot find the ancient tools to contain the tea. So today we have chosen a very special location. This place is the commercial center. It's not center for matai in the capital of Montevideo. We can see two people here. And we would like to show you what the container is like. And it's just open, but there are already so many people here. Lucy, please introduce us what kind of market it is. There are so many products made by themselves. We can see there are matai, various kinds of products, because one of the distinctive feature for the cautious is that they use the leather products. You can see there are various kinds of leather shoes, but the major task today is to find the container of the matai. Let's go to find them. We can see that this is an articraft to make matai, and this is the container. It's used from gourd, right? Yes. This is very convenient because you can put it on the desk, on the tables. And the bottom is very acute. So, to make it easier to be held, we need some kind of assistance. Drinking matai. In order to drink matai, you have to bring lots of things. It is called Madeira. It's used to put to contain the matai. In Latin America, if you see gauchos traveling, would they bring a set of tools to watch the football? Do you think it is tiring? We're used to it, because when we're young, we used to drink matai. Uruguays and Argentinos are used to it. When we travel outside, we like to bring matai. So you also have to bring the boiled water, right? I think it's troublesome. From the WeChat, from the microblog, where I've seen some pictures of the people who travel outside bringing these things, but sometimes they find they do not have the boiled water. But in China, you will not meet these problems. Indeed, anywhere in China you can find the boiled water. They do not understand that you can show them and you will want to drink matai and they will think strange. But it's no problem. At last, ultimately, you will find the boiled water in China. How long have you been in China? I spent my time in Beijing for 2 years, and then I spent 3 years in Xiamen. It's about 5 years. The first time I went to Beijing is about 8 years ago. I brought matai because I'm a person from Uruguay, so I would bring the matai. I brought the leaves, the tea leaves, because I can't find it in China. My families also like to drink matai. When I chat with my families in the morning in Beijing, I would like to chat with them while drinking matai. The time difference is about 10 hours. Be it in China or in Uruguay, we like to drink matai together. In China, there is no such a problem. I once lived in Brazil for some time, and I brought the matai in Beijing for drinking. When it is cold, it is good to drink the matai, but people on the streets will see you strangely. It seems that you are eating drug. It's like eating some drugs. So bringing tea outside to foreign countries is not convenient because people would not know what kind of thing it is, and you would like to introduce them to others so other people may understand it. And it is not the only thing in this market. In other places, we will have more products. Just now, we have met this staff. She's working here in this market. She speaks Spanish, so we'd like to translate it later. And she's responsible for introducing the Matai to us. She said, it is made from gourd. There are some carvings on the surface. Also, there are some supporting vehicles. It is like some decorations because when it is used to contain the matai, the room inside should be big enough.
You have to put the tea leaves in this container for 3 days first, and then you can start drinking this tea and pouring this kind of tea. That's why we think that this is different than the container that we used to see. This has been used by Lucia for many years, but this new container looks quite different than Lucia's container. You can see a lot of leather products, which is has very distinctive cultural flavor. Looks like a maze here. On the exterior, you can see the name of the country, Uruguay, on it, and inside it's polished. How much is it? That's about 50 RMB each. It's quite cheap, because it's something that you can use on daily basis. But we have fancier ones. It's more expensive. It's about 100 RMB or 550 of local currency, peso. This is actually more suitable for daily uses. It's easy to be cleaned. In the exterior, it's covered with leather, so it's understandably more expensive. This looks very special. The traditional kind of container would use gourd as the interior, but the modern teaware would use porcelain to. It's a more polished inside. Will have a more polished inside. This is also very suitable for daily uses. It's not that expensive, and you can also, it comes with a shelf. You can put it on a desk, and it's very stable. This is more expensive. There are all sorts and all kind of prices of products. You can pick whichever you want. So in Uruguay, this kind of container for mate is comparatively smaller, because tea, the mate tea, is quite expensive. In this copper straw of Lucia, you can see that it is used for stirring the tea when we are pouring the tea. We want to remind you that we will be making mate later today in our program. We'll show you exactly how we can make the mate. The container and the straw that you saw will be also used for the filtering of the tea leaves. Our tour guide is showing us more decorations and souvenirs. And she told us she had more to show, more kinds of containers for mate. We want to remind you that if you are interested or if you have anything to ask about the content of today's program, you can leave a message or question, and we can take your questions live. This is another kind of container for mate. It's more modern with the porcelain interior. And in the outside, you can see some patterns and carvings. Which is your favorite kind of mate container or mate cup? I quite like these ones. And this red one is also quite beautiful. It is quite concise, but also have a very traditional flavor to it. It's a small cup, and therefore if you want to make mate with this container, you need to add water constantly. Let's move on. These are porcelain cups. You can also drink regular tea or even Chinese tea with this container. Well, I saw more types of mate container. I don't know which is the favorite of Messi. These ones are comparatively bigger. These teawares are quite extricate. And the exterior is also beautifully made with carvings and patterns. These are all made with leather exterior. And then the inside is made of glass. After seeing all these types of mate, me and Lucia will be making mate here live on our broadcast. Probably our ways will be a little bit different. And hers is more Uruguay type, and mine is southern Brazil type. We already have hot water with us. We can see a lot of tourists here. And we'll be making mate right here. Now let's suppose that we are in a park. We'll be making mate together, but in different ways. And in this process, we will find an expert in this market to judge who is doing better, who is doing a better job. Is Uruguay local or me, a Chinese who's living in South America? And we also have different tea leaves. You can open this up and so that you can take a closer look. Let's look at hers package first. This is one of the most famous brands here in Uruguay called Canales. You can take a look at the tea leaves. It's not like our traditional Chinese tea leaves. It's called tea leaves, but it's more like powder shape. It's not like chrysanthemum tea. It's a total flower, but it's grinded into powder. We can show you a picture of the yerba mate tree, and it is widely found in the Pampas grassland. If you smell it, you may find that different tea leaves also have different flavor. There are also different weight, and you can have smaller packages of 100 grams. This one is of 500 grams. I think this tea leaf is different. It's quite unique. It has a smoked flavor to it. Sometimes your mate may have a fruity flavor. This has a smoked flavor to it. I bought my package from the local shop. It's organic tea. They look quite similar. However, they taste a little bit different. It's darker in color. I don't know which type of tea leaf would Mardona or Messi would prefer. But right now, Lucia is going to pour her mate for you first. You need to first put the tea leaves into the container. Do you need to fill the container? It's almost full. It's almost 2/3 of the container. We need to first use this kind of cold water. I'm using bottled water. Pour a little bit cold water in it first, and then wait a minute. You can see that water has not sinked in. It's floating on the surface. But we need to wait about 1 minute before the next steps. All right, let's use that time to start my process. My container is bigger than yours, and I bought this cup from Brazil, and the shape of this cup is different from Lucia's. I also need to almost fill my container, about 2/3 of the container.
I need to fill about 2/3. But the way is different. The Brazilian way does not involve cold water, and this is the thermal. This is my thermal. I need a tool. I need an instrument. I need a thick cover. Thank you. I make the tea often like this. This is a book. And I shake it. This is quite different from Lucia's way. Why do we need a book? The book is used to make a shape for the tea powder. We need to make a kind of barrier. Then we inject the boiled water into this container. When the container is full, then at the bottom is kind of empty. Then I will use a straw. Part of the container is empty, and I use the straw to put it in like this. And then I will put the tea powders to cover the rest part, and then the entry part is all covered, and then we will wait for a while to drink it. In the past years, I make the tea like this, and I will inject the cold water in it, and we'll have to wait about 2 minutes to drink it. Then you use the straw to stick into it. It seems it is like concrete. You need to have inject the hot water, and then you can begin drinking it. My way is simple. It's not like mine. So you directly inject the hot water into it. We drink it like this. And you can drink it like this. It's very simple. I will drink mine while it's so cold, so hot. Mine is also very agreeable. And then we'll find some passers-by to judge who has made better. I think the netizens from China may have this comment. All of us use the same straws. Would it be sanitary? This is also one of my questions when I've been to Brazil and in the park. People would like to surround together here. They will use the same straw. So at the beginning, when my Brazilian friends handed it to me, then now my question is it sanitary? And the first time I went to Beijing, and people would like to gather to ask and what kind of thing it is, I would like to introduce them. You drink it yourself? Of course not. Our friends and families and would like to drink it together, but everyone, each of us would have one container. No. They think it's not sanitary, but we are used to it this way. I think it is okay for us. When we were talking about this, and a gentleman is also drinking the matai, we'd like to invite him to our program. He's very shy, and he's drinking the matai, so let's invite him. It's a little shy. He's also a very standard, handsome man in Latin America, a thermos and the container and straw, and he's drinking. His tea making method is much like Lucia's. He said this morning he had made 2 teapots of tea, and at noontime he will have another. Lucia, will you drink up all of them? That means the end of the drinking, and you can inject more hot water. Have you forgotten our promises? And we should drink, we make the tea and let the passers-by, let the strangers have a taste. You should inject the hot water in this hole. You should not inject the hot water as surrounding part. She said we should inject the hot water at this hole, because originally we want that lady to have a taste, but later she knew who made the tea respectively, and I have every confidence because I used to make the tea. Look at her expression. Think for a while. Let's invite 3 people. She said, this one tastes light. And she said she likes the lighter one. And we have 3 chances. Lucia has won the first chance. Lucia has won the first. Okay. Let's find the gentleman. Just now we find the lady. He said he likes drinking coffee. We told him that this teapot of tea is made by Lucia. Look at his expression. He likes this one. I'd like to know the reason. He said, that one has too much moisture, and this one has more taste of tea leaves. But he said he was no expert, so he did not also understand. But there are 3 persons. There are 2 of them who like yours more, but we still can invite 1 more person to have a taste. This is made of ceramics. Introduce yourself. I'm nervous. I told her that this one is mine. And to make it fair, we should inject more water. If the live streaming happens in the southern part of Brazil, and I will have better chance to win. Look at her expression. I did not threaten her. I just let her to think for a while. She says she likes mine more. I want to know the reason. Just now she said the tea making method is almost the same. They believe that through this kind of shaking there are new tea leaves. But one comment was not satisfactory because the teapot contains all the matai, and it is not, because at the middle part it is empty, and at the very surface, and the tea leaves just cover the there is such a cover of tea leaves. There is no signal here. It is hollow inside.
I remember when I was an exchange student in Brazil, my classmates all carried their mate cup with them. It's the same thing in Uruguay. When we are in middle school, it's not allowed for us to take the thermos with us to school, but it is allowed in college. So we started drinking mate from the age of around 18. So when was your first try of mate? When I was a little kid, my father poured the mate for me. At first, I don't like it. I think it's too bitter. But I started really liking it in college years. And this gentleman, this lady started drinking mate also from a very young age. And usually this bomba or the straw is made of stainless steel. And this lady here started drinking mate from the age of 21 because then she was frequently on business trips and she believed that mate serves as a friend, kind of friend, or in connection to home. Because you're always on a trip, on the road, it's like a pet that you keep, or a friend that always accompany you when you're visiting different places. I think it's the same thing. It's a lot of Chinese people can relate to this kind of complex. And the gourd, if you're using it long enough, the interior will also change, and you will feel more and more attached to it. Therefore, we can see that Lucia win all 3 votes, but we have very good time, both of us. The mate originates from Gaucho culture, and it's very interesting. Although we all pour mate tea, our flavors varies. I believe that because your mate is from Brazil and mine's from Uruguay, so they are, of course, more used to my flavor. So it's not a fair competition from the start. As I said, you can leave your comments or questions. I asked if he wanted to try, and he kindly refused. You can add more water in it. As I said in the beginning, this year marks the 30th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic ties between China and Uruguay. And in Uruguay, more and more people began to learn Chinese. So Lucia, can you tell us why you decided to learn Chinese? When I was young, in Uruguay, more people choose to learn English. When I was at the age of 14, I decided that I want to pick up another language. My father asked, which language would I want to pick? I was deciding between Korean and Chinese, and then I finally settled down to Chinese. I found it really intriguing, And in the age of 18, I went to Beijing to Beijing University of Language and Culture. So when I study in China, you have to learn Chinese in order to go outside to social with my friends. And after graduation, I started teaching Chinese. At first, I don't have a lot of students, but as years goes by, more and more students sign up for Chinese classes. And also, we welcomed the opening of the first Confucius Institute, which is a major event because this is the first Confucius Institute that is opened up in Uruguay. We can educate we can also tell more Chinese stories and about Chinese culture in Uruguay. So last year in Uruguay, the first Confucius Institute opened here, and the first lesson will start in February. And in tomorrow's live broadcast, tomorrow night, it will be about the Chinese teaching here in Uruguay. So when you started learning Chinese, what do you think is the difference between the Chinese learning experience then and now? Right now, the Uruguayan people have a substantially better understanding compared to the year when I was 18. We have more books and more access to learning materials. And China is also the biggest trading partner of Uruguay. A lot of Uruguayan people found it more and more popular, and they found it more and more important to learn Chinese because in this way they can carry out business. They can do business with the Chinese people. They can also do trips and come to China. Therefore, more and more Uruguayan people became interested in learning Chinese because, to be honest, you can make money this way. In Montevideo last year, there is a very big trade affair. Years ago, it would be unimaginable for such a big activity, but right now, people are becoming more and more interested in Chinese language, in the Chinese culture and history. Have you spent time in China when there is a Spring Festival? I did. I spent a Spring Festival with my host family. I think it's more fun. So, thinking of Chinese Spring Festival, what came to your mind first? So what impresses you most about Chinese Spring Festival? The color red, of course. You can see the color red everywhere, and also firecrackers. At first, I didn't know what's that sound. I felt a little bit scared. It was really overwhelming. I felt very scared and asking people, what's that sound? And people explained to me that this is firecracker, and it's a tradition, it's a festive tradition. And there are also a lot of very delicious food to eat during the Spring Festival.
Many of the Uruguayan people are very interesting. Means that in this year, in February the 10th, many of the netizens in Uruguay, you must attend the ceremony at the capital of Uruguay. So for the netizens who just enter into our live streaming, we are live streaming why the mate is so popular. And the thermal is a very typical gadget in Uruguay. Maradona, Messi, and other football stars have the habit of bringing the thermos to make the Matai tea. And the ways to make teas are very different. And her way is the Uruguay's way, and there are different ways of making tea. And in the southern part of Brazil, it is different. And we have invited many people to have a taste, and many people choose her way. In the southern part of Brazil, they use the cold water. They use the cold water to make the tea. I would add some sugar or lemon juice. So the taste is like the product in China. Some netizens have the comment. Is it cool or it is hot? Do you know what does it mean in the traditional Chinese medicine? What is cool and what is hot? Many of the people would also like to ask me the question, is it cool or hot in nature? Many of the people from Latin America and do not know traditional Chinese, so they do not know the nature of this kind of tea. But according to our standards, if the nature of the matai is cool, and before going to have a competition, Messi and Maradona would like to drink matai, and if the nature is cool, you will have diarrhea and you lose the energy. So before going to the football match, the people would not like to drink a cup of Wang Lao Ji. Do you know Wang Lao Ji in China? Yeah, I know. Because they will have diarrhea. So judging from this, matai is not cool in nature. So is it mild or hot? I think it is probably not so, because in Brazil and Uruguay, people like to have the barbecue, and after the barbecue, they would like to drink matai. Because barbecue is kind of hot in nature. If they drink the matai later, it'll be hotter. So matai is not hot in nature. I think matai is a kind of mild material. Matai has a variety of nutrients, which is kind of healthy for your body. Thank you so much for watching our live streaming for about 1 hour. And we have introduced you how to make the matai tea. And if you have the chance to travel to Uruguay and the southern part of Brazil, and I think you can you can bring the matai tea back. I think the teapot is also a very good decoration. And thank you again for joining our conversation, joining live streaming. Thank you. Happy New Year. And welcome to Uruguay. We welcome lots of Chinese friends here. In the near future, more Chinese people go to Uruguay, especially when there are Confucius Institute. Many Uruguay would like to learn Chinese. In Spanish, Jin Jin means Ganbei. Cheers. Thank you for focus on our program. This is the capital of Montevideo. Thank you again.